What's up, everybody? What's good? My name is EK, and welcome back to another episode of What's Good English. Now, today is one of my all-time favorite stories for our listening and practice exercise. It's the story of how Anansi became the god of all stories. Originally, this was a West African legend, but through the slave trade, the story migrated into the Caribbean and to Jamaica, where it is extremely popular. People with Jamaican heritage like myself know this story. And by the way, if you're wondering why I use the colors that I do in all of my thumbnails, it's because they're the colors of the Jamaican flag. All right, so let's get into the story. But first, I'm going to go ahead and put up the title card so that you see all the different vocabulary that I'll be using throughout the story, because I'm not going to subtitle myself because I don't want to call attention to these certain words. I just want you to enjoy the story as is. All right, so here we go. Our story begins way, way back in the day, in the original days, and at this time, all of the stories were just really dull, boring collections of facts. There was no flavor. It was like, oh, it rained for 17 days, and then on the 18th day, it stopped raining, and the creatures were happy about this. But then on the 19th day, it rained again. And the fact that these stories were just so boring always bugged Anansi, because he was a pretty crafty, clever guy, and he always seemed to manage to get himself into all kinds of trouble, but through his skullduggery managed to get himself out, or actually more often than not, deeper into trouble and punished. But there were no stories to really sing his praises or show exactly how horrendous his defeats and punishments were. Now, one day Anansi got it into his head that maybe he should be the one that controlled the stories, because he had done such incredible things in his time, including cheating death. But how would anyone know how great of a story that was if all the story said was that one day death came for him and he happened to still be living at this time? So he decided to weave a web. See, in these days, everyone was both man and also a creature. So Anansi was a man and also a spider. So he wove a web and he rode that web all the way up to the sky to see the sky god Nyame. Now, Anansi knew that the sky god Nyame, who was in charge of all the stories, would never entertain the idea of ever giving the stories away to anyone. So instead of asking him for the stories, he decided to ask him the price. So he walked up to Nyame and he said, "Hey man, I don't mean to be all up in your business or be bugging you or nothing like that, but like, what would you come off of them stories for? Like, if you had to name it, if you could have anything in the entire world, like, what would it be to come off of them stories?" And Nyame, just wanting to get rid of Anansi, pondered the question for a minute and was like, you know what? I'll tell you what. If you can get me like the super long snake, like the longest snake in the entire jungle, and like the most fearsome tiger in the entire plains. And you know what else I want? I want all them little wasps in the forest that hang out down there by the lake. If you can get all them three things, yeah, that would be what I would, trade the stories for, if I hypothetically had to trade something with you. Now, armed with this information, Anansi went home and, he was kind of depressed and, just physically exhausted, physically and mentally exhausted. He's like talking to his wife and he was telling her, like, I'm just a little spider, man. Like, how am I supposed to get like the largest snake and like a tiger? Like, dude, I'm a spider, man. Like, the tigers versus spiders, that's probably not going to work out. And like, all right, I could probably get, a few wasps or something like that, but like all the wasps, what's going on with that? Now, his wife was also pretty smart and she gave him some advice, and the next day Anansi set off for the jungle, and whilst he was walking through the jungle, he was talking to himself in a very loud voice, and he kept on saying, "Man, you know what? I'm just like, I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I don't really know, but like, I wonder, just like, the super long snake that just be slithering around out here. Like, I don't think, like, it's a super big log over here. And, like, this is the biggest log I ever seen in my entire life. I mean, I ain't never seen nothing like this, like, super long, man. Like, I don't know, like, is the snake longer than this log? Or is this log longer than the snake?" And the snake, hearing this, could not help himself. Just had to poke his nose in and say, "Hey, I am the longest thing that exists in this entire world. Faux show. No doubt in my mind. Like, I'm longer than that log, 100%. case closed. And Anansi was like, all right, well, how do we know that though? Like, how could I possibly prove that? The stories are only facts, man. Like, how are we gonna test this? And he's like, all right, check this out, check this out. The snake's like, cool, cool, cool. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna slither up on top of this here, on top of this log that you say is the longest thing that you ever seen in your life, and then you're gonna see I'm the one that's actually the longest thing in the whole world. So the snake went ahead, slithered on top of the log, and Anansi was like, "Oh man, you know what? Nah, dude, like your body is like hella curvy, man. Like it ain't gonna be fair if I have to, like take into account like that, maybe you can't get like really straight on here to get your full length into account. So tell you what, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take these vines and I'm gonna tie them around your body and around the log here, and that way it'll make your body more straight, so it won't be hella curvy like I was saying. And then we'll see how long you truly are versus this log, because like looking at the way you are right now, you might actually be longer than what this log is. And the snake agreed to. He's like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, go ahead, do that, do that, do that. So Anansi tied all of the little vines around him, and the snake was trapped on the log. And Anansi went ahead and he took that giant log and he carried it all the way back up to the sky god Nyame. So after delivering the snake, Anansi went back home and he chatted with his wife for a little bit longer and got a little bit more advice, and he set out the next day for the Great Plains, and he dug a huge hole in the middle of the ground and he covered the hole in leaves and little branches and everything, and he just sat there and he waited. And then the fearsome tiger just started running through the valley, running through the plains, and he happened to cross the hole and he fell right in. And Anansi came to the rim of the hole and he said, "Oh, dude, there's a hole here. Oh my God, man, are you all right?" And the tiger's like, "You get me out of here. I know you done this. I don't know what you're scheming, but you get me out of here right now." And Anansi's like, "No, dude, I got you. I got you. Don't worry, I got you. Check this out. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna start to make some webs, and then you can just like go ahead and climb up on the webs, and then I'll be able to pull you out of here, man. You know how spider webs work, right? You seen the bugs get caught. I'm gonna just make like a whole bunch of webs, and you're gonna be cool." And the lion couldn't really jump out of the hole, couldn't climb out of the hole, so he's like, "All right, yeah, 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 the webs. Go ahead, make those webs." So Anansi made a ton of webs inside the hole, and the lion started to climb up like a ladder. But then all of a sudden, his paws, they just got caught in so many of the webs and he couldn't move, and Anansi just kept on spinning the webs around him over and over and over again, and surely enough the lion was just completely cocooned in spider webs. And once again up that web he climbed all the way back to the sky god Nyami, and he was like, "Yep, here you go. Got you the most fearsome tiger in all of the plains. Anyways, I'll catch you later. Ciao." So after another night of chatting with his wife and getting a little bit more advice, Anansi went back out into the forest, and this time he found the pack of wasps that the sky god Nyami was talking about, and he climbed the tree, and there happened to be a few leaves in that tree that were still wet from the rain that it came last night. And he began shaking the leaves, and he called out to the wasp and said, hey y'all, it's finna rain. It's finna rain again, it's finna rain." And the wasp were like, "No, it's not, Anansi, you're up to something again, you're scheming again, I know you're up to your old tricks." He's like, "No, look, I ain't even hungry, I ain't even hungry. I'll be catching y'all in my webs, and I'll be eating y'all, and that's just what we do. I'm a spider, you a bug, I eat y'all, but like, dude, do y'all see webs? Do y'all see webs anywhere around here? No, ain't no webs. Look, do you see webs?" And the wasp were like, "All right, yeah, there aren't any webs." Like, "Yeah, that's right, I told y'all there ain't no webs, and y'all see his water. You see this water coming down, man. Like, look, check this out. Look, there's a little gourd right over here. You see this gourd? Well, y'all go ahead and y'all get up in this gourd. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it right here. That way y'all don't get rained on, and then when it's safe, y'all can just come back out here and do whatever it is that y'all doing, and we can just, I'll be Mr. Spider, y'all be, the wasp, whatever." So all the wasps hurried up and they went into the gourd that Anansi had, and Anansi plugged the gourd, and he carried that gourd all the way back up to the sky god Nyame. And he walked up to the sky god and said, If it ain't the sky god Yummy, let me holla at you for a minute. You know your boy just got you these wasps right here. I believe you got the tiger that I sent you because I delivered it myself, and you got that snake. So what's up about these stories, man? Let me go ahead and get these stories from you. Now, because when Anansi originally asked Nyame about the stories, he only inquired what the price would be for the stories. The sky god Nyame was obligated to pay that price and give Anansi the stories. And from that day forward, Anansi became the god of all stories. And all of the stories instantly began to have more flavor, more flair, more meat on their bones. Now, anytime you hear a story where there's a lot of suspense and you don't really know what's going to happen, but the main character or a character in the story uses their own wits to try to outwit someone or uses their own skullduggery to overcome whatever problem they're faced in, even if they find themselves trapped in a deeper problem and punished for it, that is because of Anansi. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for today's episode of Storytime Tuesday. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, that is one of my all-time favorite legends. There are a few more Anansi stories that I also cannot wait to tell you, so make sure you stay subscribed so you don't miss anything. If you did enjoy the story, also please give me a like, and I will be back next Tuesday with another Storytime Tuesday English listening practice. All right, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Ciao.